Welcome back to KCDC. I'm Peter Alexander, and for my friend Casey, who's under the weather tonight. Joining me now is Democratic Congresswoman Val Demings of Florida. She is a member of both the House Judiciary and Intelligence Committees, and she's joining us now. Congresswoman, we appreciate your time. I want to, out of the gates, just ask you a little bit about the news that Rudy Giuliani made in part today. He said on Meet the Press that the negotiations as it related to Trump Tower in Moscow, those conversations went throughout 2016, which would be significant because it's further than the time frame that we had been discussing before, which had previously sort of ended at roughly June of 2016. Here's what Giuliani said earlier today.
You said the president is not sure when talks ended. It's your understanding it ended when? In January, as Michael Cohen incorrectly testified to? Or okay.
Well, it's our understanding that they went on throughout 2016. Weren't a lot of them, but there were conversations. Can't be sure of the exact dates, but the president can remember having conversations with him about it.
Throughout 2016?
The president also remembered. Yeah, probably up to, could be up to as far as October, November.
Could be as far up to October or November. How concerning do you find that revelation to be?
Peter, yes, I hear you now. Yes, hi, it's good to be with you. Look, I'm not really sure who Rudy Giuliani is really working for. Last week, you know, the president has said, and his personal attorney joined him in saying there's no collusion, no collusion, no collusion. And then last week, he said, well, no, he never said there was absolutely no collusion. And then today, this new revelation that the president was involved in those discussions, it sounds like right up to the election is just very, very shocking to hear. But I tell you what, as a member of the Judiciary Committee and now the Intelligence Committee, we are committed to getting to the bottom of it and getting to the truth. And we will be relentless in our efforts to do that. The American people who have entrusted this responsibility in us as members of Congress working on these committees expect it, and we're going to keep working until we get to the bottom of it.
And Congresswoman, Democrats, as you witnessed in the course of the last 48 or so hours, were quick to jump back on this drumbeat of impeachment talk surrounding the president after that BuzzFeed report broke. It's since been described as not accurate by the special counsel's office here. Did Democrats jump the gun? And is this something that your party needs to be careful about going forward, that it doesn't put itself in this position before they have all the facts?
Well, let me just say this, and I've made this statement before, that we're certainly not running to impeachment, but we're not running away from it either. We need to do our jobs. And I know when I'm home in the district, as I am now, and my colleagues on both sides of the aisle run into some of their constituents who ask about it. For the last 2 years, we have just seen and witnessed and heard one thing after the other about the Russia investigation, about the president's involvement. And so it's an issue that will be on the table. We certainly are committed to allowing the special counsel to do his work. But we are not waiting on the special counsel to finish his work, to subpoena witnesses that we deem necessary, to subpoena documents and other materials, to hold hearings that we deem necessary, and really to get to the bottom of the president's involvement or any of his enablers in the involvement of undermining our democracy or undermining the 2016 election.
Congresswoman, let me ask you about the shutdown right now. As you know well, we are in day 30 of this. 800,000 federal workers still either out of work or working and not getting paid, not to mention all those contractors and others who are being impacted that will never get paid for this period of time right now. Are you certain that Democrats are unified in what is sort of the leadership's line right now, that they should reject the president's latest deal outright? Why not help end this thing by having a real conversation about this right now?
Well, let me tell you this. There's not one day that goes by, it's almost not 1 hour now, that I don't think about the 800,000 federal workers, 200,000 contractors that are going without pay. I have talked to many of them here in the district, couples who work for the TSA, for example, and they don't have a paycheck to fall back on because there's absolutely no money coming in. Some of them with children in college, special needs kids. They're unable to pay their bills. It's just not fair. It's not right. But let me remind you and others that the president basically bragged about the shutdown. He says he owns it. It's his shutdown. And the president, there was a deal on the table. You know that. He made a deal. For someone who wrote a book on the art of the deal, maybe he should read it himself.
But Congresswoman, is there any pressure on Democrats now?
Well, let me just
Is there
say,
any pressure on Democrats now, though? All of a sudden, it's 30 days in. Some people might start to say, hey, guys, he threw something out there. What are you offering in return?
1 month ago, the House voted unanimously, as well as the Senate did. The president had agreed to support that legislation. He pulled back. The deal that he offered yesterday was really no deal. It was something that had been rejected before. And it just demonstrated to me and others that the president is really not serious about putting the 800,000 people back to work. He's not serious about honoring the will of the American people. Overwhelmingly, the American people do not want a wall. There are other more modern ways to secure our border. But we are hoping every day, Thomas, that the president will sit down at the table, reopen the government, and we can continue our discussions on border security.
Congresswoman Val Demings. Congresswoman, we appreciate your time on a Sunday night. Thank you so much.